Hey guys, Steph from BossUPsis.com, and today I would like to discuss with you guys just briefly the whole hypergamy conversation that's currently going around right now, that's currently trending. If you guys don't know, this site is dedicated to bossing up women, empowering women so that they can be their best selves, so they can trust themselves. It's about intuition and being able to be self-sufficient, as well as being able to establish and also sustain healthy relationships. So just to give you guys a brief intro, if you've never visited my site before or ever listened to any of my content or read any of it. So just so you guys know that. So basically today I just want to discuss with you guys hypergamy. Okay. Hypergamy, for those of you who may not know or have never heard of that term before, basically it does relate to women for the most part. Women basically marrying or dating up, and either or, both, whatever, marrying or dating up. Okay. Basically, a lot of the conversation surrounding hypergamy recently, at least for the past few weeks, it's been going around, at least inside on the YouTube platform anyway, has been in regards to women leveling up, meaning as in dating men who either are wealthier than them, who come from a higher social class or a higher a higher socioeconomic background, basically, and just kind of, being able to be with a man of means, basically. A lot of the other narrative behind it is that in order to get these types of relationships, or in order to basically marry up or be with someone who has more than you, would be just the notion of, making sure that you are, checking your femininity, making sure that you are, looking as aesthetically pleasing as you can be, making sure that you are a beautiful woman, which of course, these are things that you should be doing anyway. These are things you should want to do for yourself anyway, right? But just basically that these things are the idea behind this hypergamy conversation that's going around anyway, at least right now, is that these are the things that are going to eventually help you to be able to get a man of means and be able to get yourself in a better position in life as it relates to you having this relationship with this particular type of man. Okay. I personally don't really stress too much on hypergamy, just because I'm kind of where it goes as far as my own personal beliefs. I'm kind of somewhere in the middle with it. I do believe in hypergamy. I do believe that women should definitely vet their options as far as like men, and I think they definitely should pick the best suitor. Absolutely, in that regards, I do think you should be with someone who is financially stable. I do think you should be with someone who has goals, who has plans, who's driven. I think you should be with someone who is financially grounded, and they have their minds on those types of matters. Absolutely, without a doubt, I do believe in all of that. However, I do believe that a lot of the hypergamy conversation that's been going around recently has been missing the mark in terms of the things that hasn't been put out there. I'm not going to say which particular platforms have said it, because it's not about that. But there's been different notions being put out there, basically, to young women that just don't really all the way completely sit right with me, just because I know that for every female is not going to always end up in, one of these relationships that they kind of put out there as being hypergamous, meaning they're not going to always end up with someone who's wealthy. You're not going to always end up with someone who's like, who's worth a lot of money, or who's like, has this high stature or whatever. That's not going to happen for everyone, because there's a lot of factors that do come into play. Some of those are going to be individual factors with that woman. So for instance, based on the logic that's being put out there anyway, if hypergamy is based on only, or based on mostly looks, well, then that does automatically rule out some women anyway, because if some women don't fit these standards that they're supposed to be, an hypergamous woman, meaning like in most cases, like, aesthetically pleasing, thin or in shape or whatever, then, for some women, they may not actually feel like they fit that. And not to say that someone heavy set cannot be with someone successful. Obviously, that is not true. I'll tell you that from my own experience. But at the same time, it's like, I just don't really care so much for the idea of what a hypergamous woman is supposed to be, based on the different narratives that I've heard recently, at least. Okay. And that's just based on my own listening experience. Obviously, I may have not been exposed to everything that's out there, but just the large majority of pro hypergamy or pro hypergamous relationships, platforms that I've listened to more recently or read about more recently, I have been more kind of geared towards that. So that's just one thing. Another way that I feel like it's kind of missing the mark, though, also, and like this is the most major thing, is that I kind of feel like this whole hypergamous conversation is kind of focused solely on men who do not care about anything else that a woman has to offer but looks. And I feel like there has to be some standard that you set for yourself as a woman, period. Okay? You're only gonna live one life. So if you want to be happy, you have to figure out what it is that you need to be happy above and beyond anything else, right? You have to feel like you have to pretty much figure out, what it is that it takes for you to be your best self. And usually those are things you're only going to figure out in your singleness. Those are things you're going to find out when you're alone, when you've had time to self-reflect, time to get to know yourself. You know what I mean? And a lot of these things also, they only come with maturity. They come with experience. They come with time. So there's no real, there's no real set guideline for that you can follow as in terms of like finding the best person for you. There's no rule book you can actually put out and just and know step 1 to step 2 or do this, do that, and that's going to guarantee a certain lifestyle. I don't really believe that that's possible personally. Okay, but I do think there's certain things you can do to avoid toxic people from entering your life, or to avoid situations that you otherwise would not want to have, but that you do have control over avoiding, basically, okay? Also, as far as like when I said it about like the looks, like a lot of these hypergamous platforms that I have come across more recently, I do feel like they focus solely on, a man's attraction to you based on just looks or appearance, okay? I've heard some platforms that even suggested that men don't care about anything but your looks. And an average man, obviously, the first thing that's going to attract the man to you is going to be your looks. That's the first thing that's going to attract him to you. And that's completely true. That's just true. Honestly, I feel like that can be true all across the board, though. Like for women, it's not always the number one thing with women. Sometimes women, we can be attracted to other things initially, for us to find ourselves attracted to a man. But for the most part, looks is kind of obvious. You can go into a job interview and the first thing they're going to look at is your appearance. So that's kind of like common sense, I feel like, Looks may be what attracts a man initially. That's not going to be what's going to keep him around. Whether he's a bum, whether he's a user, whether he's an abuser, whether he is your prince, your knight in shining armor, whether he's like, the type of man that a hypergamous, quote unquote, woman will want or not. Appearance is going to be the first initial thing that's gonna attract his attention, but that's not going to be the only thing that's going to keep him around. Okay, so if we're only focusing solely on looks, I just feel like that's a really dangerous thing to be basing off of. That's a very dangerous thing to be putting all of your stock into in order for you to get a man. Okay, because looks can attract anything. You can attract anything. But what you attract and what you choose to entertain, those are two different things. Those are two separate entities, okay? You can attract anything based off of the way you look. You can be a dime piece. You can be drop dead gorgeous. Like if that's a guy's thing, he's gonna be attracted to you. And if that's you and that's who you are, he's gonna be attracted to you. Period. That's just how it works, right? But my whole thing is that's not gonna be enough to sustain a relationship long term. And it's not going to be enough to keep a person around long term. And it's not enough for you to decide if that's like to judge off of, whether or not that's the kind of man you want to keep in your life. Because there are certain things that a man has to bring to the table for you to be able to determine if that's someone that you want to keep in your life long term. Okay. So, another reason why I feel like it does miss the mark too, or at least the more recent things I've heard some people, I don't know for sure what I was on, but I know I was on YouTube. I don't know what channel I was on, honestly, but I did hear I heard someone say they were comparing other situations to, they were comparing other like famous women to, they were using their stories to kind of validate their arguments about being a hypergamous woman, right? So they were using, I can't remember which channel I was on, but they were using the idea of like Kobe and his wife. And they were saying like, sure, true enough, any man could cheat on you. So a broke, or as they call it, quote unquote, dusty could cheat on you, right? And use you, whatever. A rich man could cheat on you. But they were saying like, but wouldn't you rather be, get the Kobe Bryant wife effect? I don't know what channel I was on, y'all. So I don't take offense to it or run back to them if you hear it. I don't know what channel I was on, but someone did say this, right? Someone in this arena or this area of like topics did say this. And to me, it's like, okay. So it's like, okay, it's of course nobody wants to be cheated on, period. No matter where you are or who you live with, who you're with, who you're in a relationship with. No woman wants to be deceived and cheated on, okay? But I don't really feel like too many women of high standard or too many women who love themselves would really want to be Kobe Bryant's wife. Okay, Kobe Bryant at the time when he was going through everything and he was cheating, he was not just cheating, he was accused of raping someone. You know what I mean? So it's deeper than just cheating. He caused humiliation to his family. He caused humiliation to his wife. He had 2 daughters. That's a bad look as a father to 2 daughters to have some woman out here accusing you of sexually assaulting her in a hotel room. You know what I mean? Whether you whether you just cheated, and I hate saying just cheated or not, but whether it wasn't, a sexual misconduct of some sort or anything like that, whether or not it wasn't that, I know he didn't eventually, I know he didn't do any time for that. I don't really know that whole case that well, but I know he didn't do any time for that, and I'm pretty sure he got off. But at the same time, it's deeper than just cheating. It's like he put himself in a situation where even if he did not, commit that crime, he still put himself in a situation where he had no regard to his wife's feelings. He had no regard to his children's feelings. He had no regard to how his actions would affect his family. And it's like those wounds go so much deeper than anything that money can provide. Those wounds go so much deeper than anything that trips and bags and your status can repair. So at the end of the day, Kobe Bryant had this case happen so long ago, and his wife will always be known as the woman who was getting cheated on, who got the big ring at the end of it. We don't know Kobe Bryant's wife for anything else other than being cheated on and being Kobe Bryant's wife. Let's be honest. Nobody talked about Kobe's wife like that before, and every conversation about her since has been about that ring and about her getting cheated on and about her staying by her man, even though she knew she knew he was having extramarital affairs on her. But that's all we know of her now, and that in itself, ladies, that is so humiliating. It's humiliating to you as a woman. Okay, because you have so much to offer. Like, no matter what you look like, no matter what your waistline is, no matter your measurements, no matter where you are in life, no matter how old you are, how many kids you have so much to offer in life, period. You have so much greatness that you can attribute to this world, to your children, to the people that you touch daily, And to say that none of that stuff matters as much as your looks when it comes to picking a romantic partner, that's completely idiotic to me. You know what I mean? Obviously, there's going to take more than just looks, because Kobe Bryant's wife is beautiful, right? It didn't stop her from getting stepped down on. Okay, and you can be beautiful and be married to someone here in your local city. You know what I mean? Who may not be a manager, may not be an executive or something like that, and still get stepped out on. True enough. You know what I mean? But the hurt from it is gonna hurt just as bad, no matter whether or not he's a millionaire, no matter if he's a millionaire or if he's on unemployment. It doesn't matter. Being deceived hurts regardless of the amount of money your deceiver is worth. It's still gonna hurt regardless. Okay, so I just feel like that is where this hypergamy argument that's currently out right now is really completely missing the mark. And I just feel like that's something that you guys should truly consider, okay? As far as hypergamy, I will put some more content out in regards to that, but this is just something quick just right now, just because it was on my mind and on my heart, and I feel like I should share it with you guys. But you guys let me know what you think. Go ahead, leave a comment, like, share, or subscribe, and I will talk to you guys soon. Again, if you are interested in reading any of my blogs, you can also find them on BossUPsis.com, and this is stuff. I'm out. Bye.